Hey everyone, and welcome back. I'm engagement editor John A. Torres with Florida Today, and welcome back to our continuing coverage of the 2022 elections. We are proud to present these forums in partnership with the League of Women Voters of the Space Coast and our friends over at Eastern Florida State College. Our goal is really simple, just to inform you, our readers and viewers, the public, before you cast your vote at the August 23rd primary. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce four of the candidates for County Commission District 2, the seat previously held by Brian Lober, who resigned abruptly earlier this year. Joining us today are Joey Chowela, Dave Netterstrom, Dontavious Smith, and Chris Hattaway. There's one other name on the ballot who was invited to take part, but he was a no-show. So we're going to just get started here. We are going to give you guys 1 minute each to make an opening remark about your background and what makes you qualified to serve. So we'll start with Joey.
So my name's Joey Chowela. I'm 43. I was born here in Cape Canaveral Hospital. I've been a native of Florida all my life. I raised my family here as well. I've been married for 8 years. I have 3 children here. So I became involved in politics, and because of President Trump's administration, really started paying attention because I could see how when decisions are made that benefit the constituents of your constituents in your, especially here in Brevard, where you're making decisions regarding the well-being of the voter rather than the self-interest of your special interest groups and your donors, that you can really make change. And I wanted to apply that same America First agenda here in our county. And I don't want to be considered a politician. I want to just be an elected official who's here to build relationships and hear what the people want and to legislate in a way that benefits them, so I can find out ways to improve people's lives instead of dictating how they should be lived.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Up next is Chris Hattaway.
Hi, thanks for having me. My name's Chris Hattaway. I'm 40 years old. I was born and raised right here in Brevard County, and specifically in Rockledge. I'm a father of 3. I've been married for 17 years. And spent the last 10 years as a public servant working as a law enforcement officer. Prior to that, I worked for the United States Army Reserves, where I deployed to the Middle East. And prior to that, I worked in the public sector. I felt that it was important to step up and speak for the people. A lot of times so we feel like we don't have a voice, and sometimes voting doesn't get that done. So as I looked around and listened to the other candidates, I wanted to be a good representation for my family, for my friends, for what we believe in. So I felt that I could represent the people better. And so here I am. I offer a lot of experience, grassroots experience, and I will offer the opportunity for the people to be heard and make sure that that what their wishes are followed through on.
Great, thank you. Up next, we have Dave Netterstrom. Welcome, Dave.
Hi, thank you. I'm Dave Netterstrom. I'm the former mayor of Cocoa Beach, and I'm looking for promotion now to represent the entire district. I guess one of the biggest challenges going forward is inflation in regards to the budget. You know, inflation yesterday tapped out at 9.1%. And of course, we've all agreed that we cap our property taxes at 3%. You know, that's a voter approved, and I'm respecting that. So it's going to be some difficult conversations going forward. It's been a conservative budget for the commission for the last 15 years. So there's no low hanging fruit there. One person's waste is another person's something very important benefit. So difficult conversations. One of the partial solutions that's not being talked about is a new county manager. The current county manager, which I have no problems with, but he retires very soon. And so in this, during this period, we're going to be looking for a new county manager. And I'm looking for somebody that's, rising up in their career. Somebody that's not in the sunset part, somebody that's going to come in and streamline the organization, really look at workflows. And I'm not talking about a threat to the employees. They're going to be part of the solution, but we really need to make sure that our organization is efficiently running and squeezing that $1.8 billion budget as much as we can. Thanks.
Okay, great. And last but not least is Dontavious Smith, who I will probably be referring to as Tay throughout this broadcast. So, Tay, welcome. And what are some of your qualifications and your background?
Yes, sir. Thanks again for having me. God is good. Dontavious Tay Smith. I go by Duh Mayuh. And I bought that name. I trademarked it after running for mayor of Cocoa in 2008, after graduating from Florida A&M University in Tallahassee, Florida. Like I just said, I'm a recent mayor of Cocoa candidate, 2008, again 2016. I'm a CEO, founder of the Tay Smith Holdings LLC. The CEO of Folktale Publishing Group, where I'm a 10-time best-selling author under the Hood Bread book series. I have my own foundation under the Mayor's Deeply Rooted Foundation, which is a 501c, where I take kids throughout Rockledge and Cocoa communities to Tallahassee, Florida, to experience Florida Agricultural Mechanical University, Florida State University, and the governmental operations in Tallahassee. I'm a clothing line designer through the Hood Bread book series, and I'm a businessman. So what makes me efficient and qualified, I'm a boss. So that's it.
Great. Thank you very much. We're going to start with our first question with Chris here. And this one's kind of an open question that can go all over the place. And a lot of you guys already mentioned some of the things, but what do you think are the most pressing problems in the county, and how would you go about trying to fix them?
So the most pressing problems that that I'm going to talk about are, of course, public safety, the Indian River Lagoon, and how do we accomplish managing all these things with what the taxpayers have wanted and chosen to not increase what our taxes are. So, when we talk about busting the cap or raising what taxes we're already paying, or whether we're voting on them or not, we attack public safety. And we know that that's a lot of times the first thing that they say to keep us from wanting to not raise the taxes. The Indian River Lagoon, we voted on that to have an extra half-cent tax, and people aren't happy with seeing a stalemate. Nothing's happening to their liking. So that's going to come down to the transparency of all of the processes, making sure that we do the right thing, and that we make it so that people can see that process unfold and take it back to the people and follow through with what their wishes are.
Okay, thank you. Up next, we have Dave.
Hi there. Yep. I already hinted on what I feel is the top priority and a possible solution, a new management in there that can drive the organization. Somebody not afraid to creating waves and so forth. But obviously another very important is the Indian River Lagoon. I mean, it's so important to us that we've taxed ourselves, and there's just hundreds of millions of dollars there to find a solution. We need more grades there. It's disappointing to get an F- on one subject, seagrass. When we were in grade school, we all had multiple grades for different subject matters. So we probably broaden that a little bit, make sure that we're measuring ourselves correctly. But one thing that comes to mind is, this is so important to us, but on the organization chart of the county, it falls way down here. And I think, we need to elevate that. We need to probably create a position that reports direct to the county manager, call that person the Indian River Lagoon General or Indian River IRL czar or something like that. We need to pull resources out of the organization, dedicate them to this function here. And again, this is MBA 101, structure follows strategy. If your strategy is to fix the Indian River Lagoon, let's make sure we have an organization structure that can go after that.
Okay, great. Up next, we have Tay. Same question, the most pressing problems in the county right now, and how would you go about fixing them?
Brand management. The brand for the commissioners, the brand for Brevard County is not hot right now. Regardless of its policy making, whether it's decisions being made or not made, or the politics that's being played behind the decisions are not being made or being made, it's the brand is bad. So I plan on coming in, fixing the brand. That's like I built my brand through the Hood Bread book series and my clothing line. You have to really engage with the people. You got to understand, you got to listen, you got to understand that your vision is not everyone else's vision. So you have to make yourself available and accessible to what the people are saying. So the integrity of the office, and we have to be aware of, as you just said, Brian Loper resigned due to his family issue, which I sincerely hope and pray that everything is well. But the integrity of the office, and you have to make sure that you coming in under that oath, making sure that you're standing under that same integrity that the office is upholding. So yeah, the integrity of the office.
All righty. Joey, same question, please.
So I agree with some of the candidates regarding the lagoon. I think we're seeing, we have restoration projects that are failing, like the seagrass and the oyster beds that are doing that are failing. So I think we need to look at more infrastructure issues that are creating the problems. I definitely believe inflation is a huge issue, especially considering that our largest budget cost is asphalt, which seems to continue to go up, I believe, about 20% a year. Plus, with the amount of new, I think we get 1,000 people a day moving to Florida. We're getting a large influx of people coming in Florida, especially here in the Space Coast. I think we're starting to see a congestion in our roadways. I think that infrastructure needs to be addressed not only with the lagoon but in our public roadways. I'm a big proponent for public safety. I believe making sure our streets are safe and our communities are safe are what allows families and businesses to thrive. Like I said, I think that's about it.
Okay, perfect. And right on time. That's the 1 minute. So thank you. The next question, I'm just looking at it now, and it's very similar to the first one. So I apologize for that. We just spoke about problems in the county, but maybe you can address what's good in the county that you'd like to see better, if that makes sense. And we're going to start with Dave.
That's a good question. I think we need to continue with our job creation around here is very good. Many years ago, I remember when we were just between Harris and the Space Center, if there was layoffs, it really affected us. And now we have a very diverse economy, lots of things happening. And it's not all just driven by the government, it's private sector stuff too. So I think that we're in for some challenges. I hope that the recession that's coming up is just a little bit of a ripple and we'll be able to get through this. But I want to make sure that we continue that effort. You mentioned the EDC stuff and any incentives to steal jobs away from other states ought to be illegal. But if it's not, we all have to play that game. So I'm okay with supporting, if a company comes in here and does X, Y, and Z, to give them some sort of incentive if they do X, Y, and Z that benefits us. And as long as it's in a strategic industry that we're going after, I don't want to do any of the upfront stuff. But anyways, we need to keep up the effort that we're doing. My son is moving back from Orlando and coming over here, and he's able to find a job. And I want to make sure that all families have that opportunity.
Great. Okay, Tay, you're up next with the same question. What's working in the county that you'd like to see better?
Actually, I got to commend the current commissioners and Chairwoman Zonka for the deal with Weston and really stopping, looking, and analyzing about the money that they're actually going to be charged. Well, the citizens and residents are going to be in charge of paying within the next 30 years. And I want to commend them for sitting down and really analyzing the structure of the negotiations of the contracts and what we're getting, what we're offering, what they're getting, and what they're offering. And I want to, but that can be better assessed because you have all these smart minds on the commission and in these departments that can kind of bring it home and really make it sufficient. I got to give props to the Tourism Council as well. They're very smart and they're making some very good assessments to these deals. So, but I think it can be improved as far as making the deal getting a little faster and negotiating a little faster. So, but yeah, they're doing a good job in that area.
All righty, Joey, you're up next.
That's an interesting question because you spend so much time dealing with questions about problems that you really don't ever focus on the things that are going good. I think what's going good for our county is we live in a unique area where we are spurred with the space program, especially private space industry, which is creating a lot of new residents, a lot of great new tax, increasing our tax base, creating new subdivisions, bringing new families. I think that's probably one of the most unique and positive changes that we have in our county based off our unique circumstances that we have with our private space industry and having NASA here in our backyard.
Okay, great. And finally, Chris, same question. What's working in the county and how would you like to see it improved?
Well, I can tell you, coming from a current city position, the employees of the county are working and they're doing a great job. They're doing more with less. Their pay is probably not to the finest. We're losing people to the private sector, and they're so the understaffed positions. Everybody's pulled together to make to keep the county moving forward. So making sure that we continue to support the staff that are actually doing the job. And then on the other piece of that, we're now starting to grow. And if we don't grow, then we die. And that's really important to say, because growing in the right manner that is stable for long-term safe growth, and to make sure that our children and our environment is safe is probably the most paramount thing that we can talk about.
Great. I do have some growth questions that I want to address later on, but right now we're going to start with Tay. And I've mentioned him, and so if you know, Tay, Brian Lober, he resigned earlier this year with some family issues. We all know that his office was being audited as well for some expenditures. How would you have handled that situation? And are there things that the county could have, or like maybe should have done differently?
First of all, they gave him access to the money in the first place. I mean, when they made the vote to, say unanimously tell him to spend the money how he at his discretion or how he wanted to, it wasn't an issue then. Then when people start, you got watchdogs coming up asking questions and wanting public records, and then they start taxing and inflating the cost records request. These things start to develop. So with me, first of all, I wouldn't even have had this problem. My transparency would have been out on the open. My integrity would have allowed citizens and to see whatever they wanted to see. But first of all, I wouldn't have spent the money for unrelated COVID issues regardless. But far as the county government, they shouldn't have voted on it in the first place, giving each commissioner the discretion to spend it how they wanted to spend it, and spend it to such private community-based organizations. It was unfair. So it was just messed up from the beginning.
Okay, Joey, the same question, please.
So as an elected official, you're responsible for transparency, because the money is not the county's money, it's the taxpayers' money. So taxpayers should have full accountability and transparency for your spending. I don't know all the details behind his spending. I don't know what the purpose of him buying all those items were for. So I'm not going to speculate and comment on something that I don't know the full details behind when it was regarding somebody else's decision making. All I know is that I've seen the list of purchased items. I don't know why a commissioner would purchase certain items, but again, I don't know the whole details behind those decisions. So that's all I'm going to say about that.
Okay, fair enough. Chris, you're up next.
As a law enforcement officer, I believe in the process, and clearly there's a defined process. And if we're not following the process, that's when we become to be scrutinized. So reevaluating all the processes, the policies, the people that are involved in following through with those. I believe at the end of the audit, whatever the truth is to be found, that they'll follow through with doing the right thing. When I take the seat of the District 2 County Commission, we're going to follow the process. I mean, there's purchase orders, and, being able to run an office, there's a defined manner in which to do that. And we'll just do what's right and be available to answer any questions and show everything that we have done, and be transparent to the people.
Okay, great. And finally, Dave, the same question, please.
Yeah, the whole reason why I got involved in this race is because his antics and the way he was, it was just absolutely driving me nuts. Just no respect, no, it was awful. And I said, that's it. Somebody's got to go against this guy. So, and I put my name in the hat, and I wanted to put dignity and respect back into the office. I'm a little old fashioned. I want grandkids to realize that politics is something noble that you can look up to and honorable and so forth. And we've certainly lost that a lot. The spending, they never, ever should have done that. You gave everybody $5 million to spend however they want. That was ridiculous. Didn't smell right. County manager should have come back and prioritized everything and let them vote on it. P cards, I don't need a P card. I'll ask the office how they want to do it, but we need a solid process, very transparent. I have no problem turning in receipts and letting everybody know how I'm spending the money. And he just kept digging a hole and got deeper and deeper and deeper. He just should have said, yeah, I screwed up. Sorry. I made a mistake, and move on.
Okay. Well, thanks, guys. The next question is about the budget. What would you prioritize in the next budget? We've heard that it has been pretty conservative over the years. What should be a budget priority? And we're going to start with Joey again.
So I live in Merritt Island. A lot of I also work in real estate, so we see a lot of I see a lot of the way our communities are growing right now with the influx of people from other states. I believe we are lacking in the infrastructure side to support the additional residents that are moving here. I would love to see roadway expansions, improvements. Just anything that can help, offset driving down Courtney Parkway is a nightmare, even during the non-peak hours. So again, I'm seeing the consequences of new residents here without the infrastructure build up to support it. So I'd really like to build up from there.
Gotcha. Okay, great. Thank you. Chris, same question. Priorities in the budget.
Public safety has got to be number one. If we don't have safe streets and safe homes, safe businesses, then people aren't going to move here. Making sure that the tax dollars and that the tourism dollars stay here is really important also. So making sure that we bring everybody together as a team, as a unified front, to make sure that the history of Brevard County continues in a positive manner for the people that live here, that vote here, that pay taxes here. And of course, taking care of our ecosystem, and then making sure that, all of the growth that is to come, that's done in the right manner, that we address flooding issues, that we address that fast growth, that we do that in a safe manner that protects our environment.
Okay, great. Thank you. And Tay, you're up.
Employee salaries. With the salary base going up to $15 an hour, like Chris just said, they're our rock, and they're how we get our business done. So I think we definitely got to take care of our employees to make sure their salaries are sufficient to living, to make sure they're able to provide for their families and have good benefits to go along with those salaries. The second thing we need to invest in is our public works, like maintaining our public works equipment, making sure we have no debts owed. And if we do owe any money, make sure we get those debts paid off immediately. And another thing we should make sure of is the homeless, making sure I just proposed a project to end homelessness and to help the affordable housing crisis going on. So we need to have funds allocated to help our constituents to grow and to be better stewards of our environment. So I believe those employee salaries and homelessness and the infrastructure as far as our public works system.
Thank you. And I was just alerted that I skipped Dave, and I'm sorry about that, Dave.
Oh, that's all right. It gave me more time.
It's my handwriting. Like my Dave looks a lot like Dante. So sorry about that. You're up, Dave.
Thank you very much. And obviously my opponents have all said very similar things. Traditional government, based things is what we're going to have to focus on in a tight budget. We're going to have public safety, obviously very important. Infrastructure, obviously very important. A couple of you guys mentioned the wages, and do we have, and we probably do have, some employee turnover, and there's going to be wage compression problems and so forth. And these are going to be real problems, which is why, again, I was focusing on maybe a new county manager coming in that has experience at some new solutions here. Outsourcing, I used to do outsourcing in the manufacturing world. And, if a government is going to do something, it needs to be world-class doing at it. And maybe water treatment plants and trash and so forth could be something that they're very good at, maybe golf courses. And I know they've gone through that. There might be other opportunities out there where they're not world-class at it, and somebody else may do it better. So those are opportunities that we can take a look at. But again, no low-hanging fruit in this one.
Gotcha. Great. Thank you, Dave. It's been a hellish few years with COVID, and we've all had to deal with it, mentally and financially, and we're still seeing the fallout from all this. We're going to start with Chris, and then Dave, Tay, and Joey on this one. How would you plan, or how do you plan to help the disadvantaged in our community?
I've worked on that for the last 5 years as a law enforcement officer. When we speak about homelessness, advocacy was the first word that came to my mind, that people actually have someone to speak for them. And I've seen and worked through with many homeless people, families that were homeless, challenged people, that all they needed was someone that had the ability to guide them in the right manner, to help them get the services that are already available in the core of Brevard District 2. And that's why we see so much of homelessness happening here, is because we offer all of those services. So it's a parallel thought to make sure that the public safety officials work with the government officials, that when we come together to help them, that we're directing everybody in the right manner, that we all are moving forward with the same thought and knowing the same process, and we'll continue to drive forward. Mental health. There's not great mental health facilities. There's great private mental health facilities, and I would ask you to reach out to them and start looking at, when you're talking to someone that's in need of help, when we look at the families that are falling behind, that the mental health in Brevard County lacks, and we would just,
I'm going to have to stop you there, Chris. I'm so sorry, but we are under a really strict time constraint. I'm sorry about that. We can chat about that later on, in a like future question. Dave, you're up next.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll look at it also from the homelessness point of view. Affordable housing could be part of it, but in a minute, we're not going to get there. Yeah, I'm very compassionate and empathetic towards the problem of homelessness. When I was walking Indian River Drive up there by 528, there's residents up there very concerned about the homeless people living under the 528 bridge. And it's a difficult, complex problem. We need to break it down into the reasons why. And there's multiple reasons, as mentioned earlier. You've got the mental health issue. You've got the drug addiction. You've got just short-term economic, I fell down kind of things, and domestic abuse. So we need to point these people in the directions that offer help in these areas. And for the programs that are working, we should encourage them. And for the programs that aren't, we need to redo them or get rid of them. I'm also, I'm for simple solutions also. Continue, hey, if it's a matter of buying a bus ticket for somebody that gets them back home towards family that can help them, let's do that. If it's a matter of a reasonable grant to an organization that reaches matching donations, but more importantly, hundreds of volunteers, it's society's problem. And so I want to support those kinds of things.
Okay, great. Tay, you're up next.
Yes, thank you. Like I just said, I proposed to the commission last week, or actually a month and a half ago, while I was in Brazil, to end homelessness and the affordable housing issue. So what I was proposing is entitled Operation Leg Up Brevard. It is actually a voucher program that ensures citizens that are homeless or unprivileged or underprivileged, rather you're coming out of college, having student loans, and you're coming back to Brevard County, you can't find a job, rather you're a veteran and you're coming back home to Brevard, or you're coming to Brevard and you can't afford a home because your check isn't sufficient enough to live on, rather you're a single mom or a multi-family trying to find affordable housing. This program allows you, first of all, education and working voucher to ensure that you get a job and ensure that you're getting income to suffice the shipping container project, which is a part of the Operation Leg Up program, because now you're purchasing and you're saving for home ownership. So the program Operation Leg Up Brevard actually answers all of those homelessness questions. So hopefully you get a chance to look at it.
Okay, great. Thank you. And Joey, how would you help the disadvantaged in our community, especially in the wake of COVID?
So, there were some good points made. I believe that homelessness is a problem throughout our country. We look. The problem is again, what really spurs homelessness is again mental health issues, drug addiction, as pointed out by some of the other candidates, and those are and dealing with homelessness is you really have to look at the underlying cause. So COVID was actually one of the main reasons why I decided to get into politics as well, because we saw a lot of authoritarianism coming out during COVID. But bringing that, bringing awareness to homeless individuals and those less fortunate about the resources available that the county offers, we would have to direct those that are in need to organizations and making sure that those organizations are working and have the awareness of the programs that the county is offering. So it really would have to be almost a community outreach situation where we're going out in the community and giving those that we were finding on the streets the information available to get them the help that they definitely deserve.
All right, thanks, Joey. The next question is related slightly, I guess. We all know about the affordable housing crisis in Brevard County. How would you go about addressing this? And we're going to start with Dave.
Oh, of course, you have to have leniency to the planning and zoning ordinances for developers to develop. You have to have some kind of agreement to where these developers are coming in and to certain areas where they need to develop. We have to negotiate a fixed rate plan for these affordable housing issues. Yes, developers may lose that multi-million-dollar deal that they are expecting to have. Rather than getting multi-millions of dollars, they'll still get a couple $1 million by still helping out our initiative by ensuring that our citizens can afford to live and can sustain a livelihood. So having leniency is more the private. Having leniency on the planning and zoning ordinances in order for developers to have the connection with us to ensure that our citizens have an affordable place to stay. So we have to make sure that they're aware of our mission, and we have to be aware that they have to make money in that profession. So that'll be my approach.
All right, thanks. And our internet here is a little tweaky, and so I actually said Dave, but I understand that everybody heard Tay. So sorry about that. Dave, you're up next. I'm not skipping you on purpose, I promise.
No, it's all right. $250,000 500 square foot tiny homes is certainly not the solution. We could start at Tallahassee by telling them to quit raiding the Sadowski Fund. Those are where doc stamp money from every real estate transaction goes into a fund that helps low income and affordability and so forth. The Hometown Hero program out of Tallahassee is certainly something helpful also. But here locally, absolutely, where appropriate, we ought to change the zoning around or allow a denser zoning on smaller lots to encourage the private sector to build affordable housing. I have a 1959 house on Merritt Island. It's a rental property, very simple carport. The laundry room's in a closet in the garage. It's 3-bedroom, 1 bath, block construction. It's worked fine for 60 years, flat roof. Why can't we get back to allowing something simple like that? And I got to believe that could be something built rather cheaply. When the developers come in and ask for increased densities and increased heights and things like that, we ought to, I think we have the program. I don't know if we push it, but yeah, we'll let you go 50 units per acre instead of 30, but offer so many percentage of those units to low income and hometown hero teachers, nurses, law enforcement, et cetera. So there's a lot of things we can do.
Okay, Joey, same question. The affordable housing crisis.
So I believe that obviously we need affordable housing for those individuals who need it. There's also a catch-22 with affordable housing is once the government, the county was to step in and put, rent restrictions on, say, affordable rentals. We might not get as much development and we might actually lose out on affordable housing opportunities from a multifamily perspective. When it comes to residential, I work in real estate. I'm all about capitalism, all about people being able to, spur economic growth through real estate. I believe it's, there's more wealth made in real estate than any other investment out there. So I believe in real estate. I also believe that our county is unique and every part of our county has a unique feel to it. And I believe overdevelopment in certain areas would probably upset a lot of the people that have lived there for an extensive period of time who are used to their lifestyle there. So.
Okay, great. Thank you. And last up, Chris.
So there's so much that we can do and so many people that can be a part of this conversation. As a county commission seat, making sure that the right people are at the table to help us guide that forward. There can be home buyer incentives, working with builders, maybe some philanthropists come into the area. If you look at what happened with Mr. Rosen, how he changed the whole outcome of a small community and invested back into those people, gave them the opportunity. It's going to be bringing the right people to the table that I believe that we have in Brevard County that aren't just stuck in District 2, but, creating the opportunity to make sure that that happens. When we as a government dictate how people make money and when they can make money and who can make money, we're dividing each other. So I think this conversation is just bigger than one person sitting on a dais, and it's going to take a lot of people having the conversation and contributing to it.
Okay, thank you. And I'm hoping that I get the order right this time. So we're going to flip flop Tay and Dave. We'll start with Dave because we jumped in last time. And this is a tough ask in 1 minute. I understand that. So just do your best. What are your thoughts on the lagoon? How would you fix it? Is there anything that really needs to be addressed in your mind regarding the lagoon?
Yeah, well, like I said earlier, I think that we don't have an organization structure. I mean, here you have Virginia, who shares a lot of her resources throughout the organization. She's backlogged on everything. We have smart citizens and scientists, and I'm assuming that they've got the priorities right. Maybe we look at how we're spending the money and making sure we're doing it wisely. A lot of it is outsourced and competitively bid and so forth, and the cities are handling it. But like I said, I like the idea of, if it's so darned important for us, pull something out of the organization, create this IRL general kind of a person, put the people that needs to be focused on that problem only. And then we have accountability. You can't have that group report to the commission because of the charter, but you can at least have them report straight to the county manager, maybe some sort of dotted line thing to us. But basically now you have an organization where you can say, go fix this problem.
Okay, Tay, same question, the Indian River Lagoon.
You know what? In all due respect to this question, I can't stand this question. I'm applying for the Brevard County Commissioner seat. I am not applying for science and research of the Save Our Indian River Lagoon committee. We have a committee for that. We have a council for that. They've accumulated a 5% sales tax that's accumulated over $500 million so far. I don't have these answers. What I can do once I become Brevard County Commissioner, I can assess what the council or the committee votes on. I look at it, make sure it makes sense, make sure the citizens is not affecting our citizens in a bad way, and I assess it for the long term. But I'm not going to sit here and say I can have this solution. That's not my major. I didn't go to school for environmental science or aquaculture science. I'm a commissioner. So once the Indian River Lagoon committee have something in play that I can assess, I'll make the decision accordingly.
Okay. Joey, same question.
So the Indian River Lagoon is something I grew up fishing. I watched it become, where I would go fishing, and every year the fish would become less and less easier to catch. So it's important for me as a native here, but this is a problem that will be here even after if I take the seat as the commissioner. It's a very long-term project. I do want to contribute to any projects that can help get it restored, but I want them to be effective projects. One of the things I've learned is running in this race is that I can't learn everything. And I realized that it was important to reach out to people that knew subject matter that I don't know. And so being able to reach out to the right people who have the knowledge and information to create programs and effective programs that will actually lead to a positive outcome for our lagoon is where I would strive. Because like I said, I'm only one person, which is why a commissioner has three assistants to help him in his job. And I believe that's important in all aspects of your job, is to have the right people that are the tools to make the best decisions possible.
Okay, thank you. And finally, Chris, same question, the Indian River Lagoon.
I have a very similar stance that, I'm not the subject matter expert here on the river. I grew up on it. I can tell you all kinds of wonderful stories, and it's a shame to see the position that it's in. But you got to remember that when Brevard was going through a housing boom back in the 80s, we weren't so much concerned about what was happening in the Indian River Lagoon. So what can we do? We can look to the scientists that are coming out of Washington that have already been assigned to this project. We can go and look to the west coast of Florida, where they were investing in their waterways in the 80s that are now starting to see positive growth 40 years later, and understand that I know the American way is instant gratification, but this is not going to be something where we see instant gratification. The seagrass is going to take a while, but we have to employ and put in the right people to do it, and make sure that that board is accountable to the people that is oversight.
Okay, great. And we've all mentioned growth before, and thank you, Rob, for the note that I'm starting with Joey this time. I actually do have that on my notes here. The county is growing. What measures would you put in place to ensure that the county grows in a smart way? We hear a lot about infrastructure and how the county is not addressing certain improvements that are needed to keep up with growth. So what would you do? We're going to start with Joey.
Well, I think our traffic capacity is our biggest issue. I mean, we've increased our housing, yet we've done nothing with the expansion of our roadways. I think I said anyone who drives through Merritt Island or down A1A recognizes that. You know, that's definitely a public works issue. Like I said, our biggest budget issue our biggest increase in budget every year seems to be asphalt. So again, would have to be properly budgeted and, you know, corrected for inflation issues. It might be important to work together with other private industry to help bring in other public works if we needed to. I think the private sector definitely moves faster than the county sector. So again, I'd probably see about working together with private industry to help increase, you know, our public works that help support the incoming residents and the increased builds that we've had here in our communities.
Okay, thanks. Chris, you're up next. The infrastructure and the issue of smart growth.
I grew up in Rockledge, and the founders of Rockledge have made this Rockledge a stable place for many years without major industry. I think we can look to the different communities throughout Brevard and see what's worked and implement those things. So when we do a road project and we open it up, for example, you know, we start working on drainage, but we're taking away sewage. We can add all the things into the infrastructure that make it sustainable, that make sure that we do it the right way. Again, it's reviewing the process, reviewing the policy, making sure that the right people, that the right oversight is there to execute that, and to actually follow through with that actionable, real work being done, and instead of just sitting at the table talking about it, actually doing it.
Okay, great. Dave, you're up next.
Yeah, you know, going door to door, I've been hearing a lot. There's concerns out there that we're growing like crazy and a little too fast. And of course, a lot of people just want to go back to the way things were, especially over here in Cocoa Beach. And that's not going to happen, but we can certainly be smarter and manage how we go forward. When I was mayor of Cocoa Beach, we did, you know, we wanted to encourage reinvestment and redevelopment and so forth. But we got a consultant in, and they interviewed the landholders, the constituents, the public officials, and anybody that has anything to do with this. And then they came back together with like this shared vision of the direction that we want to go in. I think we need to see more of that in our area. You know, coming up with a consensus of what direction we want to go in. And when new projects come in and they fit that vision, then it's streamlined to go through. And if it's something that doesn't go in that vision, then it's blocked. You know, North Merritt Island, you know, I understand that we can't grow oranges up there anymore, but the development up there is really fast, and those people that like the rural area are really nervous about what's happening up there.
Okay, great. Thank you. And last up is Tay.
Yes, we got to get modernized in our thinking. I know, like a lot of other candidates said, you know, you have a lot of constituents who are upset or feel disturbed that the growth is coming in in a very flux way. And Brevard County, like I said before, wasn't prepared for it. We're one of the most budgetized living areas in the Central Florida, and our surrounding counties. You can't live like this in Brevard County. But when you come here, there's nothing to do. It's a very stagnant, unmodernized environment to live in. I can say that as a born in Brevard County native. So we need to work on our beach maintenance. When hurricanes come, we have weather, rain, and a lot of tornadoes. We have to make sure our beach maintenance is intact. We have to make sure our roadways, as other candidates have said, and make sure in order to build those roadways, our septics and our everything that in place of those to make sure our roads are good has to be in place. So yeah, there's a lot of things we have to make sure that are intact when we're in this office. So it's a number of issues.
Great, guys. Well, thank you very much. We have time for just one more question, and then the your final remarks, comments, if you will. In recent years, and even longer perhaps, the county commission has been traditionally all Republican. But according to the Supervisor of Elections website from this morning, Republicans make up, registered Republicans make up about 43% of the county's voters. That means that 57% are not registered Republicans. How would you represent diverse viewpoints? And we're starting with Chris.
So I come from a diverse community, and I work in that. And it's about bringing everybody to the table and letting them have a voice. And that's exactly why I'm here today. I don't have a lot to offer. I'm not the smartest guy in the room, and I can clearly tell you that and stand by that. But what I do offer is a seat at the table. I've been able to do that from many years. I played team sports. I grew up in a high school, went to public school, and then showed that when I went into the military, deployed with a group of people, and have come out on the better side of each one of those things, because this isn't an individual agenda. It's about people and representing the people and giving them the voice. So I have a established record of working together and making sure that everybody's heard, and not pushing just a private agenda or one-sided agenda.
Okay, great. Dave, I believe you're up next.
Sure. Getting elected is one thing, and that's a very targeted audience right now in this primary. But doing the job is another, and listening to everybody, listening to all viewpoints. I've been there, and I don't know how many times I've been in a meeting in Cocoa Beach, taking very important decisions, and there's 3 people in the room. It's so important to get civic engagement out there, get their input, whether it's through social media, whether it's through these advisory boards, the public speaking. It's all critical. And we need to hear all viewpoints. I mean, people will say things that I had never thought of before. And so that's extremely important. And so if I'm elected, I will listen to all viewpoints and respect all different philosophies.
Okay, great. Tay, you're up next.
Yeah, and this is a PR issue. You can't have or create this diverse environment if you're not diverse and have an open mind to being diverse. I know as me, as an entrepreneur, I have a diverse portfolio for my investments. It's very diverse, and all those things make up my gross amount of what I'm able to work with. So as an environment, as a government, we must utilize the African American environment, the Asian American environment, the Hispanic environment, all of these environments that are not Republican or not mostly white America. We have to engage them and we have to involve them. Other than that, you're going to have the continuous, stagnant, unmodernized environment who doesn't connect or relate to its constituents. So you're going to have to relate to your citizens in order to get this message across. And I've been doing that as a candidate throughout my social media campaign.
Okay, and last up is Joey.
So I'm a registered Republican because I believe in the 3 fundamental core values, which is faith, family, and freedom. It's just that simple. I work in an industry where I deal with all sorts of people, whether it's different political affiliations, different ethnicities, different cultures, and I build relationships with everybody I meet because I judge people based off the content of their character and no other defining characteristic. I personally have been attacked because of my political affiliation. Again, people's political affiliation does not affect my decision to sit down, build relationships, and get to know you. Again, it's all about content of character and how we treat each other as residents of this county. And I'll always have an open door for anybody to come in and tell me about their issues, because I only know about the issues where I live, and this is a huge county. And again, I want to know about all the issues in our county, not just what's happening here in District 2 or where I live.
Okay, great. Well, you've made it off of the hot seat, guys. I really appreciate it. Now you're going to get 1 minute each to tell us why we should be voting for you on primary day. So the order will be Dave, Tay, Joey, and Chris. Okay, so you take it away, Dave. Why should we be voting for you?
All right, thanks. Well, let me tell you, we're all up here and we're all fiscally conservative on a tight budget. All of us want to support the Indian River Lagoon. All of us want to support our public safety officials, but let me tell you, the job is it's about a whole lot more. I've knocked on thousands of doors right now, and there are so many small issues and so many details that are important to you. Details like why is the BJ gas line on Merritt Island go back out into Merritt Avenue? Can't we flow that a different way? Why can't the Public Works give us information about a project that they're working on in my neighborhood? Why isn't the trash getting picked up? There's 1,000 little details. And I guess I want you to know that it's those details. This is a full-time, roll up the sleeves and get dirty kind of a job. And if those details are important to you, then they're important to me. And that's why I'd be honored to serve. And please vote for me on August 23rd.
All right, Tay.
Brevard County, I love you. I sincerely and genuinely love you. I don't care if you come from the trailer parks, the projects, a median household income, to a multi-million-dollar mansion with a 401k. I don't care. I love you, and I want to represent you. This has been not only political. This has been a public administration application adventure that I've been on since 2008 and graduated from FAMU and running for mayor of Cocoa. I ran for mayor of Cocoa 2008, 2016, and this is my last hoorah run for Brevard County Commissioner. Like I said, I love you. I genuinely want to represent you. I genuinely have a vision for us. I genuinely want to bring some flavor. I genuinely want to bring some energy and some ingenuity to the commission, and not only for the commission, but for representation for other constituents. Other counties and other states, to see that diversity does resonate in Brevard County, and we are active for business.
Thank you. And Joey, you're up next. Why should we vote for you?
So one thing I didn't mention was I have a degree in organizational business. I've also spent 9 years prior to my 17 years in real estate in infrastructure, which was mostly roadway and land development. I talk a little bit about the job of the commissioner, which is basically infrastructure, public works. You're dealing with the issues with the lagoon, and my outlook on this candidacy or this race and why I'm running is because I know what the job is, and I know that I'll be dealing with these issues. But why I'm running is because I understand politics, and I don't want to be referred to as a politician. Politics is a corrupt and broken business, or it's just a broken system. I wanted to represent this county because I was going to take the same ethics and morals and values that I've had in my real estate business, where I put the individual first, and I'm never making a financially motivated decision, because I find money to be the root of all evil, and applying that on a county level to take care of our residents. And that's why I'm running.
Okay, thank you. And last but not least is Chris. Why should we be voting for you?
First of all, thank you for the time to listen to us all, and specifically to listen to me. I am a Christian. I am a son. I am a brother. I'm a father. I'm a husband. And I represent the people. Currently, I'm a servant. I've been a servant for a long time, and I'm going to continue to serve the people. This is about taking back our county, what matters to us, and providing a safe place for our children and my children, your children's grandchildren, to grow up, that we have the same opportunity, that they have the same opportunity as we did growing up here in Brevard County. And I feel that I'm the best pick. Sometimes, not everybody's ideals align, but having the opportunity to represent the most amount of people in Brevard County, specifically District 2, I think that I'm your person. So I hope that when you get to the polls that you vote Chris Hattaway for District 2 County Commissioner. Thank you.
Gentlemen, it has been my pleasure, and on behalf of the voters and for Florida Today, the League of Women of Voters of the Space Coast. Sorry, that didn't come out right. And Eastern Florida State College, you know what I'm trying to say. Thank you so much for being here. And we have to scoop, but we will see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.